talk to us about dreams, the energies that...
Dreams really seem to me, from a scientific point of view, is kind of a representation of our subconscious, an aspect of our mind that we normally kind of push aside during the day. You know, we know that from the experimental evidence, that what we're perceiving in this room right now, you'd be surprised to find out this is like 0.1% of all the information that's coming into your senses every second. Most of it is deleted by your conscious mind. Your conscious mind spends most of its energy deleting information that it doesn't think it needs to know about. But where does the information go? It's still in your mind, but it's in the subconscious. And it seems
so that goes to the dream?
Right. And you may perceive things during the day that your conscious mind won't admit to or won't see as real because you haven't been trained to see those things as real, like ghosts or something like this. In some cultures, that's very real. You know, in our culture, we don't think of it as real. But if it is real and you're perceiving...
What culture is ghost real?
Oh, in the Far East, for example, Cambodia or Philippines or other places like that, people believe in ghosts. And it's even in the Caribbean, in areas like that, there's belief in this. And our modern science says that can't be true, and yet I think there's a lot of evidence for ghosts. If you look at the experimental evidence, people who are filming for these things see things, their meters change, and there's also evidence from another Boulder author, Mark Macy, of a book of conversations with deceased people through the phone and computers. Very interesting stuff. It's a whole other topic, but in any case...
Well, they say you can contact the dead.
Yeah, well, it seems that you can. It seems that they really are somewhere else. They're not really dead. It's a huge topic.
I was going to say.
But it really seems, one of the things you learn from this, it seems that you don't really die. That you keep going, not in the physical form, but in another astral form. And you still have a body. It's not a physical body.
Do you come back?
You can come back if you choose to, apparently. But
Is that a choice?
It's a choice, yeah. It's a choice. So, you know, to get back to your question, a lot of these types of energies and things that we perceive in the day go into the dream state at night. And that's when we're a little more open. And that's when you get often extraterrestrial contact or other types of contact. Your conscious mind is kind of not on guard when you're sleeping. And so things can come through that normally your conscious mind would clamp down and say, that can't be real. You know, that can't be real. And so the dream state's a very, productive, valuable state.
Do you have to be in a certain state, first of all, to be able to dream? I mean, do you have to be in a... does a room have to be a certain way? I mean, to really be able to receive the information?
No, from my experience, you just have to kind of set some sort of intent. I think that's the most important thing, that you're going to pay attention to your dreams. You could keep a little journal by your bed or something and write them down as soon as you wake up, because you forget them so quickly when you wake up. And you could keep a journal. But I think the main thing is to set an intent before you go to bed that you're going to pay attention. You could ask a question about a certain issue or problem that you're dealing with, and just see what comes up during the night. I know one military viewer, someone who was in the Air Force, who's written a book, Dale Graff, had a remote viewing dream technique where he would give his people he was working with a target and say, I've got a picture for you to describe, but I want you to do it while you're dreaming. And they would draw down the first thing that they remembered when they woke up. They would draw pictures. Often it was exactly what the target was. So we know that you can use that kind of state of mind to do certain things, but you have to kind of set an intent before you go to sleep that you're going to use that frame of mind for a certain purpose.
So let's talk a little bit about the liquid landscapes.
No, the crop circles. Yeah.
The crop circles.
It's a fascinating topic because when I got involved in this, we started viewing crop circles at the Farsight Institute.
What is crop circles?
There are these patterns that appear in the grain. A lot of people saw them in movie signs recently for the movie from last summer that played for quite a long time with Mel Gibson there playing the preacher in the farmhouse and the aliens come down and all that. Well, for a long time we thought that maybe aliens were making crop circles, and it really does seem that UFOs do leave behind these circular patterns. But they're not quite like in the movie. It really seems that most of them now we believe are made by human artists, but they're doing it to get contact with the paranormal, and they do get contact with the paranormal. So it's not like it's either real or a hoax. People say, is it a man-made or is it the real thing? We now think that the ones that people make are the real thing. There are pictures in opening minds of batteries failing. I was there when this happened, and I've seen batteries fail in crop circles where all of the batteries failed simultaneously. 5 different devices simultaneously. Now, how likely do you think that is to happen by chance, that everyone's batteries fail simultaneously? There are the batteries. Crop circles have a tendency to do this, and yet we learned the author who created this formation. We know the author who made this. We've met him now. We've talked to him. These are secret artists. They don't want to be known. They think that the crop circles do what they do because they're made in secret, and that we kind of think that they're made by aliens or something. But something about them, the intent of the people that make them, or the shape of the wheat. We were talking before about subtle energy science. I now believe that these crop circles, these crop formations, are actually subtle energy generators. They're working with some sort of natural energy in the plants because they're shaped in a pattern. The energy is moving from the earth in a different way, and it affects our batteries and equipment. It tracks balls of light, which have been videotaped many times, intelligent balls of light, and other strange phenomena. So the real story about the crop circles is that, at least from my point of view, it seems that they're being created, and you just passed one of the pictures of one of the artists. They're being created by human artists who believe that crop circles are a way to communicate with extraterrestrials or other types of intelligence. Because when they go out there at night, what they've told me is that they have strange experiences that range from exciting to terrifying. That's one of the circle makers right there. He made this R for us in the daytime with the farmer's permission. And we didn't think he could do it.
So he's trying to be in contact.
Yeah, he wasn't doing it with this particular formation, but he in general in the past, he said, he calls this particular individual who you have there, Matt Williams, a British circle maker, calls crop circles natural magic. He says that when we go out there to make these circles, strange things happen that we can't explain. We feel like there's some other intelligence in the circles with us. Sometimes they see shadow people, they see strange columns of light. Things will come over that shine lights down on them that they can read by, but they don't make any noise. So someone else is paying attention to the crop circles. It could be extraterrestrials or some sort of intelligence that we're not sure about. You get these balls of light. Weird things happen around them, and they're real. So that's why they're included in the book. They're all kind of part of that paranormal.
We'll talk some more about it. Stay with us. You're watching TV 48 Update. I'm your host, Catherine Pugh. We're talking about opening minds. We'll be right back.
In this one, we found a page in a book from England that had a lot of the crop circles that appeared in this particular year, in year 2000, and they were all on the same page in the book. So unless the aliens read our books, I'm pretty sure that humans did that. But here's an interesting case right there where we know someone that was standing in this crop circle, a colleague of ours, and I'm talking about myself and Ron Russell, who studied together. And she was in this circle, and then she drew it, and then in her mind, another image appeared, and she sketched it, and there it appeared 2 weeks later. And I know she doesn't know the human circle makers, so somehow she kind of had this precognitive perception.
Is there a message in the
Yeah, the
design
message
or
is
the
that
circle?
there isn't a particular message in the circle, I believe. But I think there is an overall message, is that there's another intelligence communicating with us. And it's not necessarily that they make the circles, or maybe the human beings are the agents of this intelligence. Because a lot of these human circle makers tell me that they get these images in their minds and they feel compelled to go out and make them. They just feel like they should go out and do this. And we make our own now.
So we haven't defined the different patterns or what those patterns mean?
Well, I don't really know if anybody knows if there's a meaning. A lot of them are mathematical shapes. And some of these artists are just very creative, and they do what artists do. They come up with new ideas. But a lot of them have an extraterrestrial feel to them. And I wouldn't be surprised. You know, you mentioned channeling at the beginning of the show here. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these human circle makers are channeling extraterrestrials, because they don't even know why they do this. Believe me, I've been out with them at night, and it takes a lot of work to make a crop circle. It's like, it's dark out there.
How long does
It's
it
wet, it's cold, and you don't get paid, and you miss a lot of sleep.
How long does it take?
About 5 hours to make a big one.
Wow.
And you get a group of people, up to 10 people out there in the fields. They can make a pretty big one. Most people have said, you know, you can't do that at night, there's not enough time. But these people are very quick, they're very fast, they know what they're doing, they've been doing this for 10 years or more, and they're good at it. And believe me, they can make almost anything you could see. But they don't know why we get these strange things happening there at night when they make them. And subsequently, people will come in and feel spontaneously healed. We were talking about medicine before. People feel healed in crop circles. They feel like there's an energy there. There's a Qigong Tai Chi master from New York that goes over to England every summer to do different types of Tai Chi in the circles, because he thinks there's an energy associated with each design.
Right.
Like you're saying, he almost sees each design as having a specific curative effect. And maybe that's what's going on. I think there's a lot of different dimensions and levels to crop circles. But I know that they are magical and that people are involved in the magic. And we don't have to distinguish between the ones that are made by the electrical discharges, which tend to be simple circles, and the complicated patterns, which I think are mostly man-made. They all have some sort of effect to the point we go and make them now. With farmers' permission, we'll go out and pay them to use their field or something. And we want to make it to experiment to see what we'll get when we
I was
do
going to say, with the idea of trying to figure out what you can get, who's going to respond.
Exactly.
What kind of energy
Can we
you're
get the
gonna draw.
UFOs coming over our crop circle?
What kind
And can we create the battery failure? And I'll tell you, we made one in Kansas last June. It's not in the book because we just did it recently. And we developed a film, and there were strange lights going across the slides, only of the crop circle pictures. All the other slides on the roll of film were fine, but the ones of the crop circles, and there are pictures on my website, by the way, that show the pictures of that Kansas circle. And it shows something is going on there, some sort of electrical discharge. I mean, over here at your Franklin Science Museum, there's a lot of different exhibits of static electricity, and we think it has something to do with the static charge. But I've never seen static charge being able to destroy your batteries just walking across the rug. It's something amplified, and it's something to do with the intelligence of plants and the shapes. Very interesting stuff. It's really advanced science, but it's important, because maybe we could use these crop circles to generate energy. I don't know.
and that's really important.
Yeah.